Cattlemen will soon gather in Reno for the Cattle Industry Convention and Trade Show, where one of the most popular sessions will be the annual CattleFax Outlook Seminar. We have more on the seminar in this week's Market Watch.
Market Watch, brought to you by Fort Dodge Animal Health.
Joining us today is Mike Miller, Chief Operating Officer of CattleFax. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Susie.
CattleFax has its annual Outlook seminar coming up in just a couple of weeks. Can you give us a few highlights that you plan to cover?
Certainly. We've got an awful lot of ground to cover this year. We've had a lot of things impact the industry in 2007 and probably more so in 2008. We're going to start this year's Outlook, as we have in years past, with a weather outlook presented by Dr. Art Douglas. Following that, we're going to talk about feed grains and provide our outlook for 2008. Feed grains really impacted the industry in 2007, and we expect more of the same this next year. Following that, we'll talk about the supply situation, both from a cattle standpoint and a beef standpoint, and what kind of impact it may have on the industry during the next 12 to 18 months. Then we'll move on to demand, both domestic and global. We obviously have some economic concerns here domestically right now that we're watching and monitoring. And then from a global standpoint, we hope that sometime during the course of the next 6 months or so, we have a reopening announcement for both South Korea and Japan. And then we'll roll into our outlook, really a price and a profitability outlook for all the different segments of the industry, and that should wrap things up for us.
The outlook for cattle prices seems to look pretty strong for 2008, but high operating costs are always a big concern. Do you expect any relief on that?
We really don't. We think that grain prices and energy prices are really going to be a concern for cattlemen across the board in 2008. Grain prices have really reared their head and really impacted the industry quite a bit over the last several months, kind of starting with the cattle feeder and then longer term working their way down to the ranch level. Energy costs are going to be absorbed by the industry pretty much across the board. The challenge with that is that at the end of the day, most of that economic pressure will be borne by the cow-calf producer.
Okay. You mentioned weather as one of the issues that's always featured at the Outlook seminar. Is weather having a big impact on our cattle inventories?
It certainly has over the last several years. We've had the right economic conditions to see the herd grow over the last several years, and we just haven't seen it happen. And one of the big factors has been the drought that's really moved around the different parts of the country. In 2007, it was really centered in the southeastern part of the United States. Previous to that, it was kind of centered in the southern plains, and it's just really kept us from growing the overall size of the herd.
Mike, thank you very much. I know everyone is looking forward to a very informative session with you in Reno.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.